The ball wasn't even round. It was a tied-up bundle of nylon bags, squashed together with twine. But to Kelechi, it was enough. On the dusty streets of Ajigona, with barefoot kids yelling and laughing under the sun, that was all they needed to feel like champions. Kelechi darted between two rusted water drums, skillfully weaving around his friends as they cheered. He was quick, focused, and for a moment, he forgot he was playing without shoes. The stone he stepped on sliced through the sole of his foot like a blade, but he didn't stop. He pushed through the pain, ran up the dirt, and kicked the plastic ball into a makeshift goal, 2 bricks on the ground. "Goal!" someone shouted. Kelechi dropped to the ground, panting and grinning, blood leaking from his foot. No one clapped. The other boys walked away. One of them spat loudly and sneered. "Not that bastard dey score goal. Abeg shift. Boy we no even know him proper." The laughter stung more than the wound. Kelechi stood up slowly, brushing the dust off his torn shorts. He didn't say anything. He never did when they called him names. He just picked up his plastic ball and walked away. As he limped down the street toward home, the familiar sounds of frying oil and blaring generators filled the air. The narrow path to their wooden shack was muddy. His mother's voice rang from inside. "Kelechi, you no go kill me oh. You dey play football again with barefoot. Come inside." Inside the cramped one-room home, Mama Kelechi, thin and weary, was frying akara to sell by the road. Her face was shiny with sweat, her wrapper stained with palm oil. Kelechi dropped the plastic ball beside a stool and sat on a broken plastic chair. He didn't speak. She turned to him and saw the cut. "Jesus! Your foot again." He nodded. She sighed deeply, grabbing a rag and a bottle of methylated spirit. As she cleaned the wound, she said gently, "This your football dream, just don't let it kill you, my son." He winced but looked up. "Mama, one day, I go play for Nigeria. You go watch me for television." She paused. Her tired eyes softened with hope. "Amen, my son. But promise me something." "Yes, Mama. No matter how far you go, never forget who stayed with you when you had nothing." Kelechi nodded slowly. He didn't know how yet, but one thing was sure, his dream was bigger than Ajigona. And one day, the world would hear his name. There was a photo hidden beneath Mama Kelechi's mattress. Faded at the edges, wrinkled from years of being hidden away, but still sharp enough to tell the truth. In it, a younger version of her stood beside a tall, broad-shouldered man in a white kaftan, dark shades on his face, gold wristwatch flashing. He had his arm casually around her waist. Behind them was a massive mansion, white walls, glass balconies, and a tall black gate. The man's name was Chief Ernest Ojoko. Billionaire. Real estate mogul. A man so powerful that politicians sought his favor. He was also Kelechi's father. Years ago, Kelechi had been a housemaid in Chief's Lekki mansion. She had just turned 20. He had been 42, charming, commanding, and cruel beneath the charm. One night after the madam traveled abroad, Chief called her to his room. That night changed everything. When she got pregnant, she begged him to help. He gave her 500,000 Nigerian nairas cash in a brown envelope, told her to go away quietly, and never mention his name again. She left with shame burning in her bones. Now, 14 years later, she still carried that shame. She had never told Kelechi the full story. Only that his father was far away and didn't care about them. But she kept the photo. Proof. Not for revenge. Just in case her son ever needed the truth. Kelechi stood outside a tall glass building in Victoria Island, holding the wrinkled photo in one hand and his mother's last 2,000 Nigerian nairas in his pocket. He had used most of it for transport. His feet were still sore from yesterday's football injury, but the hope in his chest burned brighter than the pain. He had found the address written faintly on the back of the photo. He walked past armed security, pretending confidence he didn't feel. Inside the building was a polished receptionist desk, air conditioning so cold it made his skin tighten, and marble tiles that made his sandals squeak. "I want to see Chief Ojoku," he said quietly. The receptionist raised a brow. "Do you have an appointment?" "No. But he knows me. I mean, I'm his." He paused. His voice cracked. "Just tell him it's important." She sighed, then picked up the phone reluctantly. 10 minutes later, 2 men in suits appeared and escorted Kelechi into a plush waiting room with velvet chairs and glass doors. He clutched the photo to his chest. When Chief Ojoku walked in, he looked just like the photo, only older, grayer, but still powerful. Kelechi stood. "Sir," he said, his voice trembling. "I think you're my father." Silence. He handed him the photo. Chief Ojoku stared at it. His jaw tensed. "My mother is Nkechi," Kelechi continued, eyes glistening. "She used to work for you. I wanted to tell you. I want to be a footballer. I know you have money. You can help me. Please." Chief Ojoku let out a slow exhale. Then he spoke. "Even if I was your father, do you think I'd claim a child raised in the gutter?" His voice was ice. "Get out." Kelechi's mouth opened in disbelief. Ojoku pointed to the door. "Security." 2 guards grabbed the boy by the arms. "No. Please. I just wanted to know you. I just wanted." The glass door slammed behind him. Kelechi stood on the pavement, shaking, heart shattered. For the first time in his life, he hated the man whose face he had inherited. Kelechi didn't speak for 3 days after Chief Ojoku rejected him. He barely touched his food. He didn't even touch the plastic ball. His mother noticed the change immediately. She had seen that look before, on herself. Years ago, when the man she trusted threw her into the streets with a baby in her belly. And now, her son had tasted that same bitterness. On the 4th morning, she sat beside him while he stared blankly at the zinc wall of their tiny home. "You went to see him, didn't you?" she asked softly. He nodded. "What did he say?" "He told me I don't belong to him," Kelechi whispered. "He said I was raised in the gutter." Her eyes filled with tears, but her voice was strong. "Then let him stay in his mansion and rot with his pride. You, my son, you are gold. And even if nobody else sees it yet, I do." He blinked, lips trembling. She stood, pulled his old ball from the corner, and dropped it on his lap. "Now go. Let them see what a boy from the gutter can become." Later that day, he walked back to his usual field, a patch of dry sand behind a mechanic workshop. The other boys laughed when they saw him. "See bastard, they come again. Know your papa mansion you go play yesterday," another mocked. Kelechi didn't respond. He dropped the ball, set 2 rocks for goalposts, and began juggling with quiet focus. Across the road, Uncle Zubi, the workshop owner, stood watching. He had seen Kelechi play before. Raw talent. Lightning feet. But something about today was different. There was fire in the boy's movements. Pain translated into power. When Kelechi smashed a curving shot straight through the tires stacked as goalposts, Uncle Zubi crossed the street. "What's your name, boy?" "Kelechi." "Where's your coach?" "I don't have one." "Good. Now you do." Uncle Zubi was a retired local football legend. Once tipped to play for the national team, his career ended early due to a knee injury. Now, he ran a small garage by day, but in the evenings, he trained neighborhood boys for free. But none of them had the hunger Kelechi had. By the 2nd week, Zubi gave Kelechi an old pair of boots, worn out, but better than nothing. Kelechi trained every evening after hawking sachet water to support his mother. He juggled balls, ran drills barefoot when the boots tore, practiced free kicks using cement blocks. Each day he got better. Faster. Sharper. One evening after practice, Coach Zubi said, "There's a local under-17 tournament next month. Scouts from Lagos clubs will be watching. You're playing." Kelechi's heart skipped. "Really, coach?" Zubi nodded. "But you'll need transport money, jersey, and food. Can your family manage that?" Kelechi's excitement dimmed. "I'll find a way," he said. At home, Mama Kelechi opened her tiny savings tin and gave him everything, 5,000 Nigerian nairas. "Use it. Make them see what I already know." By the end of the month, Kelechi was the top scorer in the tournament. He didn't just play, he electrified the pitch. His final goal, a bicycle kick, made one of the scouts stand and clap. After the game, a man in a blue jacket approached him. "You're Kelechi, right? From Ajigona. My name is Coach Odio. You just earned a tryout for the state under-17 team." Kelechi stood frozen. The boy from the dust was rising. The Ajigona compound exploded with shouting and ululation the day Kelechi's name was announced on local radio. The Lagos State under-17 football team has released its final list, and among the surprise picks is a young boy from Ajigona, Kelechi, a name already being called the street wonder. His mother dropped her bowl of gari when she heard it. Neighbors who once mocked him now cheered at the sound of his name. Children screamed and pointed as he walked past with Coach Zubi. Not him. Kelechi the baller. It was surreal. From dirty streets and bloodied feet to state tracksuits and boots with real studs. But it was at the curfew 17 tournament that everything changed. In a packed stadium in Abuja, televised nationwide, Kelechi scored a winning goal against Ghana in the 89th minute, a stunning collar from outside the box. The crowd roared. Commentators shouted his name. His teammates lifted him. His coach hugged him. His mother, watching from a plastic chair in Ajigona, cried into her wrapper. That night, the entire country was talking. Who is this boy from the slums with magic in his legs? The son of no one has become Nigeria's rising star. But one man didn't cheer. He sat frozen in his mansion, eyes locked on the screen. Chief Ojoko. When the name Kelechi flashed again, along with the image of his face on the podium, the billionaire's hands trembled. The resemblance was undeniable. And the past was no longer buried. The next morning, Kelechi returned to Ajigona. It felt different. People greeted him with respect now. The mechanic boy saluted. Market women waved. Everyone suddenly remembered they knew him. Even the landlord who once insulted his mother stopped by the house with a gift of rice. But Kelechi remained humble. Until a convoy of black jeeps pulled into the street and everything stood still. Out stepped men in suits. Then Chief Ojoko, clean agbada, dark shades, and the same gold wristwatch from the photo. Gasps filled the air. Mama Kelechi stood at the door, frozen. He walked straight to Kelechi. "My son," he said softly. "I made a terrible mistake. I see that now. Come with me. You deserve better than this." The crowd murmured. He reached into his jacket and pulled out an envelope and car keys. "Private school. Mansion. A new life. Let me be your father now." Kelechi stared at him in silence. Then at his mother, trembling behind him. Then back at the man who once ordered security to throw him out like dirt. Slowly, he stepped forward, took the envelope, and dropped it at Ojoku's feet. "When I had nothing, you said I was nothing. Now I have everything, and I realize I don't need you anymore." He turned and walked back inside. The street erupted in shock. Chief Ojoku stood motionless, humiliated. The car keys lay untouched on the ground. From inside, Kelechi hugged his mother tightly. "I already have everything I need, Mama. And I'm just getting started." But just when Kelechi thought it was over, it was only the beginning. Because the family chief Ojoku was protecting, it was already falling apart. A scandal was about to hit the media, secrets buried for years would explode, and the truth about his real son would shake the entire nation. So, should I drop part 2? Like this video, subscribe, and comment part 2 now if you want to see how everything unravels. Because trust me, what's coming next will leave you speechless.